All right, Skywarp, are you ready for your close-up?
I am ready.
All right, just stand right over there on the platform and we'll begin.
Skywarp better than the others. Skywarp will become famous.
All right, action.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Khan. If you're new here, welcome. I'm the fabulous leader of the Decepti-KHAN army. And today I have an army of seekers. I feel like this might be a bad idea that I'm gonna be literally reviewing the same toy 3 times in a row. I feel like I'm gonna lose my mind, the fact that I'm reviewing all 3 of these guys, you know, for the next couple of days, but we're gonna be starting off with Skywarp first. Yeah, we're gonna be starting off with Skywarp first. So yeah, you were the first one on the chopping block, which a bit of a note, so I'm not gonna do any recommendations until we get to the last guy. So we're gonna see how good Skywarp is. So let's go ahead and get started with his review, all right? All right, Skywarp, let's take a look at your articulation. Skywarp's head can rotate all the way around, so he does have head rotation. You could rotate his arms all the way around. He could do a T-pose. He does have elbow bend. You can twist his arms. He doesn't have hand rotation, but he does have some bend on the hands here due to his transformation. He doesn't have any waist rotation. You can kick his legs forwards, and they can slightly go backwards. And yes, I did test to make sure that Skywarp can do the splits. Yep, he can definitely do the splits. You can bend his legs. He does have a little bit of leg rotation, no foot rotation, but he does have ankle tilt. And lastly, you can move his wings in the back. All right, that takes care of the articulations. Let's go ahead and move on to the accessories. So Skywarp comes with 3 weapons. He comes with these 2 little black guns, as well as his main weapon, which is this cannon-looking gun. At first I thought it looked like a shield, but it is supposed to be a gun that you just slot on either one of his hands. It's really kind of nice. You can kind of change out his weapons however you like, and you can also kind of slot the 2 black guns on his wings when you want to kind of store them. As far as the weapon testing goes, I was able to get Skywarp to equip different weapons, so here's what he looks like with Black Dragon swords. Then I tested Barricade's gun, and pretty much he does look actually really nice with Barricade's gun. In fact, it actually kind of fits really nicely in his hands. I'm not sure kind of why, but but this is what he looks like holding Barricade's guns. And then I also tested to see if he can hold Novocaine and Freezer, and yeah, apparently he can also hold the 2 Terracons in his hands. So yeah, I'm actually really impressed, Skywarp. Really impressed that you passed the weapon testing here. And last but not least, before I forget, Skywarp does actually have a backdrop. So this is what his backdrop looks like. And for some reason, he doesn't really fit very well in the backdrop. But, you know, at least he has like an additional, you know, set piece you could play around with. So yeah, look at that. So let's go ahead and combine everything that I've learned about your articulation and the weapon testing, as well as your current weapons you have, and see if I can make you into a supermodel. So let's roll the photo shoot. All right, it's round 1 with the transformation. Let's see if I could transform Skywarp. So here are the instructions, here's the expectation, and here's my transformation attempt on Skywarp. All right, here he is. I'm really impressed with myself that I was able to get this down. It was a little bit confusing. I mean, is he easier than Starscream? Definitely not. But I was a little bit kind of confused a little bit, but I think I was able to get it down. So yeah, here's Skywarp in his Cybertronian jet form. I think it's a Cybertronian jet. I think that's what's supposed to be. So I couldn't really close this top section. I don't really kind of know why it wouldn't close, but it was kind of the only little thing that I couldn't like get it secured. So I'm just gonna kind of leave it be, but for some reason it just wouldn't close. Overall, what would I say the difficulty I had on Skywarp? I would kind of give him like a 5 out of 10 on difficulty. I feel like that sounds about right. Yeah, the only tricky part I had was flipping the legs over directly on top of the back. It's kind of hard to explain, but that was kind of like the only part I got hung up with. It was a little confusing, but I think I figured out how to do it. That takes care of my transformation attempt on Skywarp. Yeah, I mean, he's like a really strong figure, like really strong posing variety, very good articulation. And again, I really like how smooth like these bends are a little bit. I know he won't do it for me on camera really well, but like I just really kind of like how smooth that is. It's very, very smooth movements. I really, really like that. And it doesn't really make any noise either. I know some people like the noise, but I kind of like not having the noise. It kind of sounds like they're like super old or something. Kind of like, kind of reminds me of Dark of the Moon Soundwave a little bit with all that crunchiness. There's probably a couple things I want to kind of comment on. Particularly the wing. I think it was this. No, it's actually the other one. Yeah, I think it was this one. So like, is you see how like the wing, it's kind of down, right? But if you try to move it up, it immediately goes down. It doesn't do the same thing on the other wing, because when you move it up, it stays in position. And even when you go down, it stays in position. But this wing, it just... And then the other thing I kind of wish is that I kind of wish he had hand rotation. He kind of suffers a very similar issue when I reviewed Bumblebee Soundwave, because Bumblebee Soundwave had no hand rotation, nor could you even like move his wrists, which really kind of sucks, because I feel like he really should have that, but unfortunately no. But at least like with this guy, at least like because of how smooth the articulation is with the arms, like he's got some pretty good degree of posing with how he can hold like the weapons and stuff. I think he could be a really strong contender for the recommendations, because I don't have too many negative things to kind of comment on, you know, aside from just, you know, that he doesn't have hand rotation and this is just loose. I think he's almost perfect, you know. I think he is just almost perfect. So, as I said earlier, I am not going to make any recommendations yet, because I do need to review Thundercracker and Thrust first before I can kind of decide which Seeker I think is pretty much my favorite. And so far, I think he's set the bar pretty high. So I think right now, I think he's probably the strongest contender that I would recommend. But we'll see if that changes when I review Thundercracker and Thrust. So I think to conclude our review, I'll go ahead and have Skywarp wave goodbye to the camera here. If you guys like this review, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe to my channel if you're new. And I shall see you guys on the next episode, in which I'll review one of the other Seekers. So have a good night.